So there's a watch I've had my eye on for a while now, but it's one of those watches that as soon as you walk out the store with it, loses value like a 737 MAX loses doors. I'm talking like more than 40% of the value. So I took a risk. I bought someone else's. Before I tell you what the watch is, place your bets in the comments right now. I'll tell you how I bought it. It's the most expensive watch I've ever purchased, so I wanted to have some kind of security in case it all went nip skyward. And there it was, the perfect example on eBay. I'm sure you, like me, window shop on eBay all the time. Some of the prices on there are insanely tempting, like this Submariner date from 2005 with the aluminium bezel for £6,750. That's like $1,000 to $1,500 cheaper than I've seen it elsewhere. Or this Tudor Black Bay Pro that's a good few £100 under market price. I was especially smitten by this Lange 1815 in yellow gold for £12,250. There's a whole bunch of stuff on there that could very easily put me on the street in no time at all. But like, spending that kind of money on a watch from eBay can seem scary. The keen of eye will have noticed that this video is indeed tagged as paid promotion, and that's because eBay reached out to ask me to talk to you about buying watches on eBay. I said sure, but I want to do it properly. So I bought a watch with my own money, through eBay, using my wife's account, through a VPN, at night on a boat, wearing a fake moustache. As of right now, eBay hasn't paid me a penny, and we'll see based on how the rest of this video goes if they even still want to. Because I'm a dirty tease, I'm still not going to reveal the watch just yet, but I'll take you through the buying process. Once I'd scanned through the pictures, read the description and all that jazz, I took full advantage of the make an offer feature. Since I have the social capabilities of HAL 9000 and the negotiation skills of a damp hat, the ability to type an amount I wanted to pay into a text box anonymously was very welcome. I'm the keyboard warrior of getting a discount. I'll be honest, it was a bit of a lowball, the first offer, and it got bounced back immediately by the threshold set by the seller. It's at this point I realised there's only 3 offer attempts allowed, presumably to stop me being an idiot, so I upped it to £7,800, and this time the offer met the threshold and was sent off down the internet tubes to the seller. It was at this point, as I realised I had committed to the purchase, by the way, once the offer's accepted, you got to cough up, that the gravity of what I'd just done started to sink in. That's a lot of money. A lot. But there were a few things that reassured me. First, the seller was an authorised retailer of the brand, and this watch was a part exchange and had just come back from a service at the manufacturer, so it had warranty and all that. Second is the eBay Authenticity Guarantee. If you buy a watch on eBay over £1,500 in participating countries like the UK, Germany and US, it doesn't just get sent to you, it goes to eBay's Authenticity Guarantee partner, who check the watch both matches the description and is a genuine product, and if they're happy, then the watch gets forwarded onto you. You'll see the little blue Authenticity Guarantee logo on applicable products. So if some cheeky scoundrel tries to hide a big scratch, or posts you a watch so fake it makes Simon Cowell's face seem legit, it'll get bounced back so hard it'll have the dog hiding under the table. eBay will even send you an email letting you know that user Dingleberry1984 has been a very naughty boy, or words to that effect. So when the seller accepted my offer that same day, that's where the watch went next, before finally arriving with me once it was authenticated. I placed the offer on the Friday and the watch was with me by the Tuesday. Took a little extra time than shipping direct, but not too bad, and I also needed to give a pin on receipt so the delivery driver couldn't treat himself on my behalf. And here it is. It arrives in a plain outer box so it doesn't draw attention, which is sensible. I've taken my address off obviously so you don't send me bags of dog poo. The box is taped up and stuck shut, so if it's been tampered with in transit, you'll know about it. Please, no comments about my stumpy tool. I make good use of it. There are a lot of reminders of the authenticity guarantee inside, including a little pamphlet to read at bedtime and a plastic card that I assume gets you 10% off at McDonald's, and then of course there's the watch itself. So, did you get it right? It's a Chopard, but which Chopard? Why, it's the one with the surprise Bremont logo, the chilly Swiss bird known as the Alpine Eagle. Chopard describes it as contemporary, refined and assertive, inspired by both the Alps and the imperious strength of the majestic eagle. We could all do with a dash of imperious strength of the Majestic Eagle. It's a golden eagle specifically that Chopard is referring to, many of which live around the Alps, but that doesn't stop this watch sounding like a craft beer drunk exclusively by the bearded. Now, let me be clear. On paper, I hate everything about this watch. The bracelet doesn't taper enough, the date is awkwardly placed, I don't like the bezel screws, and the Roman numerals suck. For good measure, it's based on a 1980s Chopard called the St. Moritz that's uglier than a bat doing deadlifts. But for some reason, when it's all put together, I absolutely love it. I misled the dealer into thinking I was going to buy one new by trying it on a few times. Still loved it. Ever since Hodinkee suggested I wear one with a semi-transparent sweater, I've loved it. If anyone can tell me why I love a watch I hate, I'd be interested to know. And this one I bought, I love too. You can just about see where it's been refinished at service. It's basically impossible to reproduce the factory finish without all the original jigs and things they use when they first make it. But otherwise, it's immaculate. Keeping time well, as in, I've not noticed it being out over the time I've had it, and is every bit the watch I was hoping for. The whole process was completely seamless for me, but I still had questions. In eBay's Authenticity Guarantee FAQs, they reference the company called Stolen Co. as being their partner that does the checking. I wanted to know who this Stolen Co. thought they were, being Mr. I know everything about watches, so I did some digging. Turns out it's an American company based in Ohio that has satellite locations elsewhere, like the UK, that provides servicing directly for a number of manufacturers and retailers. That list includes independent icons like Armin Strom, through to mainstream group brands like Baume & Mercier, and even retail giants like Rolex-owned Bucherer. Well played, Stolen Co. And the watch itself. Well, you're not going to get an unbiased review out of me on this one. Long-time viewers will know I once owned a Royal Oak back when they were cheaper. Cheaper even than this, which is kind of galling. And I've been looking for something that gives me the same sense of radiant density that did. The closest I've come since is actually my Grand Seiko SB GV245, but the Alpine Eagle has well and truly taken over on that front. I've long said that Chopard watches, especially from the LUC collection, which this kind of straddles, are absolute bargains at the top level. I would say in terms of fit and finish, this without doubt competes with the Royal Oak I had. Maybe not the movement, but it's not far off. By contrast, the Royal Oak is over twice the Chopard's price new. It's all in the details. From the deeply grooved dial that is supposed to look like an eagle's eye and definitely doesn't look like a dog's reverse thruster, to the inclusion of a special, brighter alloy that sounds more like Spider-Man's arch nemesis, Lucent Steel. There's not a single facet that doesn't feel like it's aiming squarely at the big boys. Look at the bracelet for example. It should be held together with pins like a normal bracelet, but no. Chopard created these ridiculous figure-8 profile things that seamlessly connect one link to the next for no other reason than just because they could. They're even brushed in the same direction as the link sides. To adjust the bracelet, you have to remove the screw on the back, which allows you to lift out the polished center link and slide the weird pin out. This isn't reinventing the wheel, it's reinventing the wheel, tyre, road, and the idiot driving 30 and a 60 in front of me. They've even included a round orifice in the deployant clasp to get your weenie screwdriver through. There's that experience paying off. Oh, and if you get sad when a watch doesn't have a micro adjust, this one's going to get you welling up like episode 14 of Crash Landing on You. Side note, did I buy a Chopard Alpine Eagle because Captain Ree in Crash Landing on You has one? Yes, I did. I cannot stress enough that every single touch point is solid and luxurious. The winding, which you basically never need to do, has a feel that's thick and syrupy, like the crown version of a 5-star hotel mattress. Even though the bezel screws are more like bezel acne, they've actually figured out a way to get them to align with the roundness of the bezel, and not even by using the bolts cosplaying as screws Audemars Piguet does. Even the way it wears, micro adjust aside, is perfect for me. It's a 41mm watch, but nothing about it feels like it. The dial is small for the case, which I like, so to me it wears very compact, a thickness of less than a centimetre playing very much in its favour. And yet it still gets 100 metres of water resistance, which is splash-tastic. There's 60 hours of power reserve to play with too. The Caliber 0101C is industrially finished, but not without its charm. The architecture is interesting and it's very precisely made. You won't be getting the fancy beveling and the micro rotor of the more expensive Caliber 96 like you do in the Alpine Eagle XPS, but it's still carrying its weight alongside similarly priced JLCs and whatnot. The finishing is done by precisely the same number of people as the Royal Oaks Caliber 4401, i.e. none. I can't even think what I could have at this price that comes anywhere near close. A Zenith Defy seems cumbersome by comparison. The Vacheron Constantin Overseas is at least twice the price. The Girard-Perregaux Laureato is a good shout, but I don't think it's as nicely made as the Chopard, and it's a little bigger too. IWC's recent Ingenieur is perhaps the closest competition in terms of price, but I still don't think it's hitting the high notes in quite the same way. There's the Alpine Eagle XPS with the lovely Caliber 96 I mentioned a minute ago, but that's also twice the price, and I'm not sure about the second subdial, or the thinner bezel. Do I wish the dial was dateless like the 36mm version? I do. Do I wish the bracelet tapered more, or even better still, could be swapped for rubber? Absolutely. Do I wish the bezel screws were done in literally any other way than how Chopard did them? Like Pete Best wished he practiced harder. But it doesn't matter to me because everything else is so well done that complaining about those details feels like sour grapes. It's like moaning that a Bugatti doesn't have enough cup holders. Like, dude, you have a Bugatti. Quit whining. And that's how I feel about the Chopard Alpine Eagle. It's almost too good for me. I feel special wearing it, like I'm looking after it for someone else. And that's pretty incredible really, as someone who gets to enjoy a whole lot of different watches. The fact I get to enjoy it at 40% off, with the balance of a manufacturer warranty and a recent service all through the eBay Authenticity Guarantee, well, that's just the Eagle on the Alpine Peak.